to do deep breath. All right, welcome back.
Welcome back.
We are so excited. I mean, I'm personally so excited. We have got Seth and Ryan here from Nude Dude Food, founders, 8 years in business, which is what you just said, which is unreal. Welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, thanks for coming, guys.
Thank you for having us. We're
pumped. We are.
We are excited to be here as well.
There's going to be a lot of voices talking over one another.
I know, this is our first 4-person show.
Okay.
So.
I'll try to wait till you're finished with your question before I interject.
Please don't. Please never do that.
How we doing?
We're good. We're tired of winter, I think, like everybody, but just churning away. We're excited for spring and, new food and new menus and new ventures, but doing pretty well.
Do you choose to be have you always been in the cold? Do you choose to stay in the cold?
I guess yes and no. We're from Central Illinois, so we've always been Midwest boys, and we've been in Chicago now like 20 years, so I guess, I don't know, he travels.
Just committed.
We just traveled to another cold state.
Went to Denver, so it was cold and snowy.
Do you like snowboard, ski?
I do snowboard. I did not make it out this trip, unfortunately. But yeah, my family does, so
that's awesome.
I just leave my gear out there. It's great. I don't even have to bring it back.
I can't imagine you on a snowboard.
Why? I wakeboard.
Oh, okay.
Look at that.
You strike me as a water
Full
sport
of
girly.
surprises.
Yeah, no, really, I guess so. How are you?
I'm good.
How's your week?
Really, though, how are you?
Uh-oh. Let's unpack this.
Yes. Welcome to our podcast.
Yeah.
How's your week?
No, it's good. Busy, but good busy. Hopefully some big things happening.
Fingers crossed.
Love that.
Everyone,
Love that.
send her good positive thoughts. For me, though, not so much. It's okay. It's all right.
We're just coasting along.
For those who don't know, what is Nude Dude Food?
Yeah.
I guess he's throwing this off to me. So Nude Dude Food is a private and corporate dining company. We source local and seasonal ingredients, and we create menus with those ingredients and serve our clients. So there's a few different offerings that we have, which we can, dive into in any amount of detail. But really, we're a private and corporate dining company. We do some recipe development, some cooking instruction, so some, instructional classes. And we really just like to cook good food that we care about and share it with others is kind of the quick elevator pitch.
Yeah.
I don't know how quick that was.
And the nude
that's
part.
That's the
anything to add, kind sir?
I mean, that's like the most like,
what was it, basic?
Just like
elevator
pitch.
pitch.
We got the corporate, we got the stuff, but people are like, what? But no, for real, like, what is Nude Dude Food? And Seth isn't wrong. He's right, but we're private chefs that we like to cook and entertain, and that's kind of how the business started. We wanted to do something that was non-traditional from a restaurant kind of standpoint, and that's kind of where it was kind of evolved from. We'll talk about more of the names specifically, but private chefs that had a fun, quirky way to entertain, but also, so much of food nowadays is also like the experience.
Yeah.
And so we source a lot of things locally at the farmer's market. You can catch us there. We're hand picking a lot of those ingredients. And so I think it's just a fun way to, have a dinner experience in your own home, your Airbnb, with a fun, sexy spin also if you want.
Tell us about the sexy spin.
So,
you got to keep going with that. I mean, you set it up.
Naturally, I guess we have to talk about the name Nude Dude Food. We really wanted something that just was eye-catchy, and here we are. We're talking about it. It's something that people see the words, they see it on the logo on our car, and you can just see them like Nude Dude Food, or they're like just like laughing or getting attention, right? It just draws attention. And so when we knew we kind of wanted to go down this private chef route, we needed some kind of name that like embodied that, because we're not classically trained chefs. We didn't come from restaurants. We came from very, very different careers before this. And so we just were, having fun and we're social and wanted something that would kind of embody us. And no, nude really didn't have anything to do with it. More was that health and wellness kind of avenue. We're both, big on fitness, and Seth's a big climber, where we cross paths in yoga studios and things like that. So that was really like the wellness that we wanted to tap into, but just like the nude kind of just came out. We were literally sitting around something like this, not on camera, but with friends, like spitballing, attention grabbing names. And this is kind of what ended up, and it stuck. And yeah, we're here 8 years later. And funny enough, the shirtless thing never even was really our intent. We found the name, sat on it for like 3 months, and then we're like, but like, what is our image? We're not like chef coats. We're not like, again. And so his cousin who was living with us at the time too was like, just take your shirts off. Like you're trying to embody this image or whatever. Like just live it, right? And so we did, and that was like our first profile picture. And then all of a sudden, like we started getting like phone calls and DMs like, hey, will you come to my house and do this? And we're like, oh, sure, great. And then bachelorette parties started coming, and that's really where like we kind of went down that route. And at that time with Instagram too, like it was just like blowing up. We were traveling all over the country. But again, it was just a great way to talk to people about food in a fun way.
Not so like strict and like Chef Cody.
But also like, but not strippers either. And so I think that's been
bummer.
Still something that we deal with as a brand, when we're booking people, we talk, like Seth said with the corporate, we have this side of it or we have this side of it. And we're happy to do any and all of it. So,
So what were you guys doing before chef life? Because you were like, we came from vast different backgrounds. And
I was a professional musician, mostly a singer.
Okay.
I mostly played singer. I plunk around a little bit on a few other instruments as well, but kind of started as a passion project. I was a big choir boy in high school, glee club in college, theater. I always loved to perform. Found an outlet through a boss of mine when I was working at the Board of Trade when I moved to Chicago, and he kind of started funding a little music project. It was all originals. It morphed into cover songs, but really kind of hit the ground running for over a decade.
Wow.
Doing about 150 shows a year for those 10 years.
Wow,
and it was a lot of fun. Toured the Midwest quite a bit.
Cool.
A lot in Ohio. Every other week sometimes. It was a lot of fun though, but then once we hit mid-30s, got really burnt out, and cooking. We were also roommates for a decade, so we were living
you
at
in
home.
The band?
And we might as well have been. Band Mom, Band-Aid. Not specifically.
I'll get to my.
He'd come along. He'd come along for the fun.
How we merged.
We had been cooking a lot at home, so it was kind of an easy transition. But we were really wanting to switch to something that we were really spending a lot of time and putting passion into, and that naturally was food. So that became the performance for me, and no longer with the microphone. Sorry, I will not be singing right now. Just kidding.
I used to think I was a good singer. Like at camp, we laid out a towel, and I sang A Whole New World, thinking I had a good voice. And then after, the girls in my cabin were like, "You suck," and I was like, "Oh, I do."
Did you sing thereafter, or was that kind of it for
that was
you?
it. Now I just rap
Jordan's
and sing.
musical career.
Like, I don't care that I have a bad voice. Karaoke, put me up there. Like,
you want to
let's
give
go.
us the first line of A Whole New World?
Isn't it a whole new world?
Isn't it? I can show you.
I can show you
the world shining. It's not It's not about me today.
Oh, hey.
Did you know that wasn't your calling?
Really, in my head, that sounded pretty good. I'm not gonna lie.
It always does.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's go.
Yeah. So myself, not so glamorous, but I was a social worker and licensed therapist in the Chicago for like 15 years.
Very cool.
Did like child abuse and neglect investigations for
very
DCFS. Worked in like foster care. A lot of it was involving trying to like keep families intact and things like that. But just really crazy, stressful, hard stuff. Like just taking that all in and helping all these other people. But I had a passion for it. But that was really where cooking came in for us. Like coming home after these long days, crazy stressful days, we would decompress and then let's cook or do something different. And so ended my career after working in the juvenile jail with some of the same clientele, juvenile inmates, again, trying to get them back in the community, but that was kind of towards the end of where I'm like 15 years in now and knew it wasn't like sustainable for my own like mental, physical health. I love like working and helping people and others. It just wasn't the avenue that I was meant to be in forever, is one of those things. And so I think for both of us, you know, being best friends since high school, so it started even before Chicago, but now, you know, at that time in our 30s, kind of both collectively looking for something else that was really something that we wanted to do together, you know, for the future. And we're like, how can we monetize just what we like to do, being, you know, roommates and best friends, cooking and entertaining for people. And so that was what was happening before. And now we always say, like, people are excited when I come to their door now in my career. And Seth, you know, is still very much the performer now, I feel like, too, in that. And that's kind of how we are different as our personalities and our work histories. You know, he is, and I love that for equally, that's kind of how we just can communicate in in a kitchen or wherever. So he can be kind of the front man, and I can be the social worker, keeping every, you know, thing clean in the background and keep food running out. And he goes out and presents the course and things like that, because that's his personality. And I'm, you know, I don't need to be. I don't like the attention. But yeah, I don't know.
I don't either.
I do.
Hello, I'm in the room. Seth is entered.
So at what point are you guys like cooking in your apartment and you're like, we could do this? Like, for real, for real. You know what I mean? Because I feel like there's not like, I'm sure there's plenty of people who have like lived together and have been friends forever and have been doing a thing for forever, but not a lot of people are like, all right, let's take this and make it like a real thing.
Bread. So we started baking bread literally 10 years ago, almost to this week. I think last week was our
this like
10-year bread
gluten-free
anniversary.
bread?
This is just a sourdough. His
Okay.
brother got us a book, the Tartine bread book, a couple kind of baking tools, and because he knew we were kind of interested. I don't even remember. He basically gave
we like to
gave
cook.
it to us as a gift, and looked through that, kind of started to learn that process. And I think, at least for me, I think for both of us, that was kind of when it was like, oh, like, this is awesome. Like, we can make this. Like, I just remember starting to think, like, how could we do something with this? We, you know, it wasn't private dinners, wasn't any of that yet. Although we were cooking a lot at home. I think it was, that seemed to be kind of the turning point for us in terms of when it started to just, the wheels started turning a little bit. Jinx. Other than that, I mean, I'm trying to remember some of the initial conversations. I remember doing a couple test run dinners,
like with your
at my
friends,
cousin's house.
I remember going to one of those, it was someone's house, and you had a dinner party. There was a lot. I went with Alex, and you cooked. It was just you two.
Yeah.
It was like when you were first, like, I mean, it had to be 4 or 5 years ago, and you were like first coming into like, really promoting yourselves in Chicago.
Yeah, I think by that point we were even like we had done dinners at that point. I guess the other part of it too is when we were always having friends and family over to eat with us, but then we started doing a little larger backyard barbecues. So that's when we started serving more people and realized, oh, I think like we can do this, or we know how to cook for, you know, more than just 2 or 3 people. And that's when it kind of started to come together. I mean, that was circa probably 2015, 2016.
Yeah.
So we do like a Memorial Day backyard barbecue. Roasted a whole pig. Like, we learned like so much doing this, but, you know, we're like, we can do this. Let's just like invite friends. Next thing you know, there's like 70 people, and we're like, oh, we got to figure this out. But we've done like fish fries, you know, like taco, different themes. Like, it was always like Memorial Day and Labor Day, and they just kept growing every year. And we're like, all right, we should probably like charge people like a cup fee or something, because we're putting a lot of money into this.
Right.
And also the feedback was getting like, friends were like, all right, you guys need to like open a restaurant. You guys need to open a restaurant. So that was kind of those two things, starting really nailing some of the sourdough, and then getting some, you know, practice under our belt cooking for larger parties or things like that, entertaining, that we're like, all right, that's when we're like, we need a name. We need a name for
we gotta
whatever
make
this
this legit.
is.
Let's
we need
go.
something.
Did you both grow up like watching someone in the kitchen, where you're like, oh, I'm in the kitchen growing up with some grandma, father, mother, sister, brother, my friend, whoever that was like inspiring you to cook. Like I never grew up with anybody cooking. We went out to eat like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday as a family. So like now I'm like learning to cook myself, but I don't have a love for it.
Yeah, I'd say father for both of us was like an important food figure in our lives. My uncle was another one. But I didn't have interest in food as a kid. I was a picky eater. I never would have thought in a million years like I would want to cook or bake bread or anything like that. But in terms of like laying the foundation, my dad and uncle were my kind of biggest inspos. And then as I started cooking more, then it, we'd all kind of would get together and brainstorm and spitball. But yeah, father and uncle for me.
Yeah, similar. I just have fond memories of my dad. He was a fireman, and we'd go down visit him, and they'd have family meal or just some of my memories are just more like the community around sharing a meal together.
Yeah.
Not a specific food memory or a teaching. I cooked with my mom and but my parents split when I was young. But so some of those memories were well, this is time I'm spending with my mom.
Yeah.
Even if it's on a weekend, we're going out to Pizza Hut or something. But that's a special thing because we're, on a visitation. I'm going to spend that with my mom, for example. Whereas my dad, then some of those memories were, him coming home from work and we'd make breakfast or something, and I would go off to school. So some of them, but that just food became something to me that was that invoked good emotions and feeling. But by no means was I ever into cooking. A lot of it, even in high school or college, cooking was even more just nourishment or cook for my roommates or just an act of love or act of service. And so that's still very much what drives me to do it, just being able to serve the community in different groups of people, whether it's corporate or bachelorette, but also then over the years, then with Seth specifically living together, then just, getting into food shows, going to the farmer's market, and then just kind of just jumping in the kitchen together, then just, the creative juices start flowing, and mainly more him and me just being all right, let's bring it down a little bit, let's see what's attainable, what we can actually do, and then just that kind of chemistry just kind of went from there. So
food shows, are we gonna get on Guys Grocery Games or something?
We've done a number of interviews for stuff like that.
Let me know how I can help.
It's been a while.
Okay,
but,
I think you should be on it. I watch everything.
Posed specifically, but maybe it's not as
top of mind.
Top of mind as maybe it was in the beginning. It was this would be a lot of fun. Now it's okay, now we actually have a lot to think about it in terms of the business. But I'm not opposed, I think Ryan would be the guy to do that.
I don't know, but I don't think either of us are opposed, but I don't know if the opportunity comes. Why not? I think it's great for brand and the business and just getting exposure and everything. That's kind of where we're at in the business too, is just, we're all about, cooking for our community, but also let's cook for more and more people,
Totally.
Yeah.
You said your friends had asked you when you first started getting going that you should open a restaurant. Has that ever been in the forefront, or have you always wanted to just kind of do this flexible private chef stuff?
Still not.
Are you still thinking about it?
It's kind of I don't know, maybe a pipe dream, or there's a romantic idea or aspect to doing that. Sure. The reality of it, I think, is a little different. So it's not a priority or a focus of ours right now. We do have a sourdough pizza product, which we'll get into. That
it's sitting on my lap.
Oh, there it is.
You guys keep talking.
We do want to expand upon that, but not in a traditional restaurant sense, at least not yet. If there's a demand for it and we learn how to produce a lot more of it efficiently and effectively, then I think something like that and could be down the road, but it's not a priority or a focus at the moment.
Right now.
The smell of this, just so everybody can know, is so good.
Okay, well, if we're going to dig into the pizza, let's dig into the pizza.
And let's also, I just want to, while I'm digging in, and I will tell everybody about the flavors that I taste because I watch a lot of Food Network. Where did the sourdough and the pizza, how did that evolve as, you were saying you're private chefs and everything? How did that evolve?
Yeah. As you look into that. So kind of to go on your question too about the restaurant, I think the beauty of being in this private chef realm is we can, it changes every day. Our clientele changes, the kitchen changes, the venue, which is a huge challenge, but also something that's unique to what we're doing as private chefs.
Right,
Obviously, there's a lot more moving parts. We're lugging equipment around. We're communicating a lot more with our clients, asking about what their kitchen looks like, what, the vibe is, or certain things, because we're the chefs, but also we're
so good.
a literal mic drop.
No, it's so good. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah. So I think that, and then just all the stressors and things that come with owning a restaurant, and it's easy to get away from the food and the purpose of what we really want to do, and so that's kind of why we have stuck with that private chef route, and then sourdough enters the chat.
Can you tell everyone what I'm eating right now, please?
Yeah, so this is our sourdough pizza that was really born out of COVID.
You do all over your face. In fact,
You have napkins? I don't know if we brought any.
No, but
you can use our sleeve, or Seth, you take your shirt off. And,
yeah, you are Nude Dude
Not
Food.
working tonight.
But, so thankfully, as private chefs, we when COVID hit, we didn't have a restaurant or employees that we had to lay off, or so that was kind of a blessing for us. And our goal during that time was just to stay connected with, we had started our Instagram. We had the private stuff was rolling pretty well. And then all of a sudden, nobody was going anywhere. So the sourdough is what we kind of fell back to, because we still, even today, every event we do starts with some kind of bread course. So we were like, how can we,
I'll get to her. Don't worry.
Feed people. So we were lucky enough to have access to a closed kitchen in Fulton Market that had a big stand mixer, and we would just bake bread. And so we would bake bread, and we'd post a Google form on our Instagram and say, hey, tomorrow at 5:00, there's a link, and whoever wants bread can sign up. And so we weren't asking for money. It was just, we were socially distanced outside of our loft space, and we had a little Venmo chalkboard sign that if anyone wanted to donate or pay, they could. But that was like, we met so many people from the neighborhood, just, walking around and feeding, just a loaf of bread really is kind of what it was. But during that time, it just, it was for us a way to have some purpose, and that turned into giving meals to some of the frontline workers. But all this sourdough is sitting around what else can we do with it? Basically, we're like, we love pizza, and so the same thing kind of happened. We would make a couple pizzas at night, and then get on IG and say, hey, anyone in the neighborhood want a pizza? Come over at 6:00, and then turned into the same thing with the bread, Google Forms, and we just kept tinkering and felt like we got a really good product, and so now we're close to signing a lease on something that will make it readily available.
That's awesome.
5 days a week at least. So
that's great.
So that's our kind of workaround, still not having a restaurant per se, but this product specifically, we've just felt super strongly about, and the bread too. Just people really, really like it. But we're not full-time bakers, so unless we're baking hundreds and hundreds of loaves or pizzas a day, it's just that's where the private chefing comes in for us. And then as a hobby and a passion, still doing the sourdough. But this new venture will give us a way to get it out there a lot more.
That's awesome.
Readily.
I can't wait to hear about it.
Yeah.
It seems like a lot of what you're talking about is all very community driven too. Like the whole, we gave bread away during the COVID thing, and it was more like just come and get everybody together. Like, do you feel that's something that you really try to uphold as far as the private chef business and so forth and so on?
Yeah, I mean, the community around food in the last 10 years has blossomed in many places. I mean, Chicago is obviously a great culinary destination. There's a lot of access to food from all over the world. I mean, it's kind of both the product of that, like the food community's built itself over the last decade or two. And then it's kind of just the circles that we run in. The farmers market is very community oriented, or if you're talking to a farmer about what they picked this week, I mean, that starts the conversation, then that transfers into what we're cooking. Then we talk about it to our clients. So it just facilitates this food community. Our meat company is a family-owned business that's kind of close to where we live. I mean, it's all based on location and the community that we live in by default. So yeah, I guess we could just kind of continue that conversation through our food. But yeah, the community aspect, not only do we enjoy specifically being a part of it, I think by default, it's kind of there in Chicago, which is awesome. And the conversations are there, and people want to get educated and informed on what they're eating. So it kind of happens naturally, at least for us. But we also, we try to poke our head around in those food communities too. So
kind of taking a little bit of a turn, working together as partners. I know you said you both have like kind of different personalities. How did you find your groove of that? Like, did it just come naturally because you two are friends, or, like, have you had conflicts, and how do you kind of go?
I mean, yes, we've had conflict. I mean, we're best friends since high school. Literally,
the eye roll side.
Or together but not together is kind of like the thing where his girlfriend knows I'm just going to be I'm the third wheel forever kind of thing. But I think it's not an easy answer or question to answer, because there's a lot of always evolving, right? The business has evolved over the years. We've evolved as friends and adults. And so we definitely found things that we like to do, and how for the business, who's better at this. Like I run like the socials, and he does more of like the finances or some of those tasks for the business. But then other parts, for the day-to-day now, like with new ventures, and we're in like a new prep space, just trying to divide and conquer and find a way to like delegate, not only as co-owners, but then as we find more guys to work with us or have a prep team, being able to like delegate and be able to communicate effectively. It's all about communication, right? And so I think yes, we've had conflicts over the years, but at the end of the day, you get to work with your best friend, and you see your best friend all day, every day, and like at the end of the day, like that's your boy, that's your guy. So no matter what, like that's like we're in it together, and we're we still feel like so passionate about the business and how far we've come, that like no matter what, like the conflicts are like it's part of a growing relationship in a business, but it's something that we're constantly kind of keeping each other in check, and kind of like checking in with the team, and just being small business owners on top of that too, right? So
and like the hustle and the grind. You both also are, as you said in the beginning, like big into wellness and fitness and taking care of yourselves. What do you do, or like how do you remind yourselves, like, hey, we're getting deep in the grind, we're getting deep in the weeds, like let's take a moment, whatever those self-care rituals are for each of you? How do you do that?
This past year I could use a little more of them for myself, but at least a few times a week we're trying to get into some kind of activity, even if it's at the end of the night. If I haven't done anything, just sitting there and stretching for 15, 20 minutes. I mean, honestly, the maintenance factor like that has been big for me, because we've just been so dang busy. But it changes week to week, but it's just trying to keep conscious of where you're at that week and trying to do something. And not every day, we can't do something every day, but I think we're going to try to make a bigger part of it for this year, really taking that time out for ourselves, because I feel like last year we didn't really do that enough. But yeah, I mean,
it's hard to take care of yourself.
We got a lot to do in our
and we're at least conscious of, if we're not in a good state, we can't help our staff or our clients or put our best foot forward. And so even if that's like, all right, let's go get a massage or something, and if that unintentionally turns into a couple's massage, then so be it.
It happens.
You're like, hey, you want to book you a tattoo? We've done that together too. But hey, I'm going to get a massage at 1. You want to go with? I'm like, yeah, I'll jump in at 1 or whatever. And the last place we went to, they're like, oh, here you both, and we sat.
In the same
we were
room.
in the same room. It's like, oh, it's on brand. It works.
Be separate,
whatever. But like, even if it's like a massage or I'm newer. Well, not newer. Like the last couple of years, like even like pedicures. Because we're just on our feet all the time.
Totally.
There's no shame in the man pedicure. I don't care what anybody says.
I'll get my nails painted sometimes too. Like the ladies, we go to a local spot and they're just they see us coming, they like it, and it's like whatever. This is like this half hour, 40 minutes, like makes you feel a little better and good.
Totally.
And it's like why not? So,
yeah. What's were you going to say something?
No.
You were going to. What were you going to say?
No. I'm good.
What, as someone, like if someone's out there and they're thinking about starting a culinary business, whether it be they're just starting to cook, they want to be a chef, they want to do something like you, they want to go into a restaurant, what would you tell them?
Don't.
I say that about healthcare all the time.
Yeah.
So what advice would you? I'm like, don't do it.
Yeah, don't do it. No, just follow what you're passionate about. That changes over time, or it can, but really, you don't have to. I'm not saying it's not good to work in a restaurant, but you don't necessarily have to. It's a great way to build skills, lay a good foundation for yourself, but really, listen to yourself and what interests you and try to follow that. Because if you don't like what you're doing from the beginning, it's not going to be worth it to you in the end. But
yeah.
I would really say just find what you like to do, start with that, and build from there. I mean, that's what we did. We were just having fun.
Yeah.
But that was the thing too. I think like even before, like that was the point where we were to launch Nude Dude Food. We were. We had these other careers that were stable enough. Maybe we weren't like happy, but we're like to even make that leap for us. In 2017, we were 30 something, and it was like, all right, that's scary. Like to be able to like make a complete career change. Or here I think, I'm gonna be a social worker, a therapist. Coming out of college, but I'm like, all right, well, maybe not. So making like a big career change, and I think hopefully, that risk came a little easier kind of out of COVID. You saw a lot of like the small businesses kind of pop up, or people really evaluate like what's important to them in their life. And it's like, all right, am I really like happy doing this 9 to 5, or am I happy doing selling this or making this, and just like pursuing your passion, like Seth said. So I think if it's your passion and something you really want to pursue, I think then go for it. But find find some mentors, or find, if it's social media driven, find some like chefs or Instagram handles or people that like you look up to, that maybe you want to aspire to, and learn from kind of pros or experts, whether it's in a restaurant or online, but kind of go and seek out that knowledge from some brands or people that like you aspire to be like too.
Did you do that? I just like my voice just cracked.
No, I mean,
I feel like we kind of do every day still.
I think
like,
we
still are like, we'll engage with people, even if we have cooking questions. Not, but yeah, I feel like that's still kind of is what we do.
Like an always a learner type mentality.
And even seeing like our Facebook memory from the first sourdough we made, like, or even like food memories that pop online. I'm like, oh man, like I plated like meatloaf with a ketchup swipe or something. It's like how even we've evolved over like our own journey, right? We're always learning, always like trying new techniques, and I think that's part of just being a chef and trying to stay creative and come up with new, stay on new trends and things like that, and new fun ways, kind of like the business, just to be unique and different. I think that's what excites people now, whether you're in a restaurant realm or not. Like as a consumer, you want something different and unique that not everyone can have, right? Or then it kind of gets too watered down. And so I think I think if that's something you have a passion about, you're a brand, and you just go for it. And I don't know.
Did you just like play around in the kitchen at home? Like, hey, like let's try this today.
Yeah, literally.
That's what we did.
There's still an element of that too.
Yeah.
A kind of fly by the seat of your pants type of thing. I mean, I guess that's the food industry as a whole. But yeah, I mean, it was, let's try this. We found this spice when we were eating Indian food up on Devon or something. It's like, let's cook with this. So it was a lot of that, and it still is. Where it's, I mean, now things are quite a bit more consolidated and kept track of. It's more polished now for sure, but there's still that element of, wow, this looks fun. Let's try it.
Yeah.
And being the owners, and whether it's the corporate events or the private events, we typically have control over the menu, and so we get to be creative as creative as we want. Whether for the corporate, we're cooking for the same people a lot more often compared to like
That's
a
awesome.
one-off private dinner. So for even those meals, we're constantly doing new things and trying new techniques, and just that keeps it exciting for us, but then also for our clients, and yeah.
Speaking to menu stuff, so let's say like I come to you, I want to hire you guys for an event. How do you tackle what the menu looks like? Is it like this season we're doing this? Is it per the event? Like how does that process work for you?
Yeah, there's a few different menu offerings. So if we're coming to your home to cook, there's a 4-course option. There's a seated and plated 6-course option, an appetizer, a brunch offering. But in terms of the food that we serve within those menus, it changes seasonally. So we'll do 3 to 4 menus a year.
Okay.
Depending, this year we did a fall and winter menu and have just kind of stuck on that. But yeah, you kind of go with what season it is. We think about what is going to be available from our farms, and that kind of leads the process. I always kind of start with vegetables from local farms, and that kind of leads the creative process into developing what's actually on the menu. But it would be, seasonal food, and oftentimes you get clients would get a choice. Some courses, like the first course is almost always our sourdough bread board and served communally. Like there's not much to choose on that besides whether you want to add some cheese and charcuterie, let's say. But then in following courses, there will often be kind of the client will get a choice of this or that.
Some choice. We don't we don't want to give you free reign completely. We started when we started the business. We're like, what do you want us to cook? And
it changed every week,
which is great. It was just like chaotic and not attainable.
Yeah, it seems
so
like
now it's like. We, like Seth said, try to find stuff that really inspires us from the farmer's market, but then, from your client perspective, within those courses, you can pick, some protein choices. And we do a lot of work to accommodate guests. So we ask about allergies and dietary restrictions. So I think that restaurants can do that too, but being able to work with like a smaller group, we want to really pride ourselves on being open to any and all restrictions and allergies so that those guests still have the best possible,
Now I'm thinking like Food Network, when people are on the Food Network and then they're like team challenge, like, fuck, this sucks. They're like, man, I got to work with this person now. How do you go about like together that menu planning of like, because it's not like, okay, is it like you do the appetizer, you do the entrees?
It's kind of an open conversation. And now that we have a couple other guys almost always consistently cooking with us or preparing the food, it's actually gotten easier because we kind of it's a big brainstorming session.
Cool.
Yeah.
It can be while we're cooking other stuff, and hey, someone has an idea, they'll shout it out. So actually the menu planning process has gotten easier, I think, because there's just more heads together as one on it.
Is there a process that these dudes have to go through to we'll talk about the dudettes in a second, but that they have to go through?
And
hazing.
Besides,
and I think like in the beginning, and still now, like as part of the conversation, if it is like a bachelorette party, we ask, when we're talking about menu, we're like, all right, what's the uniform? Do you want us in like chef coats or the traditional like shirtless with pants and or with an apron and pants? Pants are like always on. We got to put that in
Pants
there.
are optional.
So. I guess for the most part, if it's like a bachelorette party, Seth or I will go. We have a couple other guys, and we're in the, I guess from the fitness industry, we know a lot of guys that, and really it's not like you have to have a 6-pack and look like you're, an athlete. It's really more about being able to entertain and engage with a group of people. And not only that, in a pretty charged environment. If it's a bachelorette party and it's a group of girls drinking and you're a shirtless male cooking for them, not everyone can handle that regardless of what they, so it's really more about like being able to exemplify kind of the standards that we have for ourselves in the business and be able to entertain and things like that.
Did you make them cook for you?
Some we've had cook for us.
Like to be like, yeah, you're up to our standards, or are you like,
Yeah, there's definitely been like a cooking aspect. It's not like you come to
You're
our house
cool,
and we're
let's go.
sitting there. It's more like, hey, come
Didn't we
home.
do that once?
I
I thought
think
we
with
did that
like
with
Dustin,
someone.
we had like come
Cook for
over
us.
and
We'll
I
judge
mean, I don't
you.
know, it's
see
kind of like
if
an
we vibe,
interview.
see if we vibe together, right? Like share a drink and like you know cook in the kitchen with us and just I don't know. I think that tells a lot about a person, and even in our prep kitchen, like you're standing this close to your team most of the day prepping and working closely. And like if you don't want to be around that person, that doesn't make for a fun day.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I think for the business trying to find that's been the hardest part, I think, for the private side and the nude part of it is like we can't there's more of us, you know, it's just kind of finding that person. And so over the years we have a short list of guys that will go out with us specifically for the shirt off events. We've got some younger guys over the years, thankfully, you know, that bring a little more energy and because we're getting in our 40s now, and so I don't know.
Young bucks.
You guys are
Yeah,
spry.
no, I know.
Down.
It's
Spry.
you know.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Don't always feel
That's
it
like,
anymore.
excuse me.
No, yeah,
For
we're
yourself.
getting up there though. It's going
But
faster.
it's also exciting to like see the brand expand into other ventures like the corporate stuff and the pizza. I think the shirtless aspect of it I think has like staying power and we've cooked
Yeah.
all over the country. But yeah, I think it doesn't always have to be us. And I think that kind of is something that as a brand and as we grow, we're always trying to think of like, you know, what's next or what, you know, how we can kind of continue this, but then begin to like delegate and things like that. And,
Yeah.
you know, we show up for like the 6-course, like high end, like smoke machine, nice kitchens.
Yeah.
Like, all right, Seth is here. So,
Yeah.
you know.
What's the strangest request you guys have gotten?
That was on my
That
live.
was good.
Strangest request.
Like, is it a weird event? Is it a weird, can you please do this? Is it a weird menu item?
Have you been asked to take your pants off?
It's
yeah.
definitely been like
It's
how
happened
nude,
more than
how
once.
nude
How
do you
nude is
get?
nude? Yeah.
Which is entertaining, but then when you get asked, you know, a lot, and you're like, oh, okay,
Yeah,
you
we got
know.
it. We got it.
But again, like,
And when the girls are drunk and they're like, "They have your pants
yeah. But again, so that's why it takes a certain person to be able to like say no to
Yeah,
that. you know,
respond
and
to that.
So, but yeah,
Trying to
it's
think.
mostly
Any
about things like
interesting
that.
like food requests that you're like, I have no idea what this is. Like on Chopped. I'm just
Yeah,
gonna bring in
not-
all the shows I watch.
Not like weird food. It's more people asking something when they really don't know what they're asking or they don't
Yeah.
understand. That happens a lot with allergies.
We'll ask about allergies, and then we'll get all this feedback, and then we'll serve someone the modified, and then they're like, "Oh, but actually, it's okay. I'll have that tonight." I'm like, okay, well then you're not
You're
really
like, "All right,
vegan, or
asshole,
you're
I
not
did this
something
for
kind of,
you."
you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
but not anything.
I'm trying to think of other
Crazy
like
strange.
strange like party requests or
Yeah.
like. Come back to that.
Okay, you think about it.
Don't think about
We'll
that.
hit it in the
Yeah,
rapid
yeah.
fire at the end.
Yeah.
Sure, strange
Think on
parties
that.
and fun stories, but not anything like, yeah. Or
What's the most fun
kitchen,
story you have?
or like most memorable. We always get like
Yeah,
most
most
Yeah.
memorable.
Um,
Dang. Yeah,
there's a
lot to-
couple. One of the first. It's memorable for a lot of reasons, but we cooked in the Hamptons for
That's
like
awesome.
Oh,
a
fun.
18-person bachelorette party.
Did they fly you out
They
there?
found us. They're from Philly and found us in Chicago on Instagram. They flew
Oh,
us
wow.
out.
Damn.
We got an
Where's
Airbnb
that money?
nearby, and then like source like lobster, and all of those wherever we kind of like land for those destination events, we try to
Yeah.
like hit local markets and things like that. So that was like super memorable, just being on the East Coast and
Yeah.
and being able to source everything and. We didn't have anywhere to prep, so we're like, hey, can we come over like the day early and kind of like get some stuff in the fridge? And so we just remember we're like in this like open bay window, like prepping lobster, and they're just all of them in bikinis sitting there just in the pool. And we're like,
Yeah.
this is we're in the Hamptons right now, like this is like just prep day. What is this gonna be like? So we did take a break and play flip cup, slip and slide, like for like, you know, one round.
A little bit, yeah.
But everything was like, that was it. That was the wildest thing that happened. But it was just that for me was one of the like most memorable for all the reasons, right? It was just like the group was fun, the location, the food.
Yeah.
I don't know. Craziest, most memorable?
Or embarrassing?
Embarrassing.
Seth's like, I'm not embarrassed.
How about the white elephant? Those were.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a few. Yeah, there's been a few games played while we're, you know, trying to deliver this experience. One of them was a white elephant.
Like the gift exchange?
A little gift exchange, but all the gifts
were like dildos.
were sexually oriented.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun though. It was pretty funny too, and watching guests' reactions. We didn't provide the gifts, but watching people and their reactions when they opened them was fun, funny, memorable.
Have you ever had an experience where someone like really hits on you and like wants to take you on a date or something, and you're just like, this is inappropriate, like? You know, honestly, no, like,
some of the men have been more
inappropriate
than the women.
Yeah.
And a little like handsy specifically. Not for a while, but I remember a number of years ago. Yeah. It. You know, if there was a guy or two at the bachelorette party, sometimes they would be a little. The
more
most
aggressive.
vocal and the most handsy. One dumped a pitcher of water on my head.
Oh, little wet and wild.
Little unwarranted. It's like, okay, like, do you think I wanted that shit to happen? Or
and you can't be like, what the fuck are you doing?
Take it in stride. I mean, whatever. You can do whatever the hell you want to me. I don't care. No, but there's little instances, but it's nothing too crazy. Trying to think of like more specific stories.
Well, I know you have the dudes, and I guess when you think about handsy and stuff like that, it could get a little bit like I don't know. It's inappropriate for men and women and anybody else. But would you ever expand to like having a dudette?
We have a couple females on staff for clothes.
I mean, they can't be like
not
can't
ever.
take the top off.
And honestly, we've only over the years have had like a few inquiries from men asking if we offer a female equivalent.
Are they asking for like top off?
But they're
asking for more than that. It was really creepy.
It
was honestly terrible.
Turns us off so much of them even just reaching out to us in a way. That we're like, no, like it's not something that we have a name for it. We joke about it in a way of like our friends or even some of our female friends, like, oh, I want to come on like a bachelorette party or something. And again, some of the staff we have, like we ask now about, is it shirts on or not? So that helps with like staffing. But even some of our like corporate stuff or even our earlier TV appearances, always end up kind of wanting us shirtless.
Yeah. I mean, it's like a thing.
It is, but at the same time, like if it's sometimes it's not the vibe, sometimes it is, and really it depends when we get there and we talk to the clients. But always wanting it to be, and I think over the years, the name has got us the business and the image too, but I think really it kind of comes full circle when people finally had the dining experience, whether we're shirtless or not. Then it kind of all comes a click, like, okay, like, this isn't like a Chip and Dale. You're not strippers. It's really this is the best.
No Magic Mike.
Whatever the food is, like we've got many comments, and that's really what I think keeps us going too. Is like, all right, what we're doing actually has like some staying power, and like we actually can, we can cook too. It's not just about like
nude can mean like a ton of
like
nude can have a ton of different connotations too.
Well, and your brand, I think in general doesn't give those vibes at all. Mm-hmm. Like I would never like think to call you guys and be like Chip and Dale experience, like it doesn't read that way. Yeah. So I think
you've done a good job of like really putting the personas behind who you are. What does a day in your lives look like?
Wow. Wake up.
I'm coming at it with the hard hitting question.
Now this just let me think through what we did today. First hour for me is kind of getting a cup of coffee, emails.
What time is that?
Are you morning or night person?
I'm productive in the morning, but I'm not like a morning. Like I don't like getting out of bed. Don't even look at me before I've had coffee. Like don't even
Got it.
engage with me.
We don't live together
Don't
anymore,
even
so it's
think.
nice.
Yeah.
We're like,
No,
when he's
Taylor's
ready-
up at
when
like
he's
5
ready,
in the
opposites?
morning.
not opposites, but I can like alarm off. I can be at a workout like within a half hour of being up or
Okay.
something. Like I don't do it often anymore because we're cooking most mornings, but I could do that. Seth would be like, don't even send me the links.
Yeah,
Set
that's
them
how.
with
you.
Yeah.
Split it in half. You two on
Yeah.
one team. Us on
I'm
the
the
other.
early one. She's like 7:30. I'm like 5 o'clock.
Yeah, that's
So-
like 7 o'clock hour, I guess, for me.
Yeah.
But I'm productive in the morning on whatever has to be done, emails, lists, menus. But then oftentimes we're at the kitchen in the 8 o'clock hour, starting to prepare lunch to go out to our corporate clients, which heads out the kitchen door at 10:30 to 11.
Is this your prep kitchen?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a space called the Hatchery in East Garfield Park. So kind of close to the corridor we live in. But after lunch goes out, it's finishing other prep that needs to be done, any kind of shopping or lists to source stuff for the next day of cooking. Often mid-afternoon, we're kind of going home, get a few hours to whatever, and then there's usually an hour or two of whatever it is at night, whether it's printing menus, it's
Admin,
Yeah,
social stuff.
kind of stuff like that. So it's the always working, never working kind of thing. But it's physical too. Just the amount of food. That's even some of the shopping trips and
I
getting
was
it
just
from
gonna
the
say,
car
are
to
you
the
guys
kitchen,
shopping like
or
every day?
in some fashion, more or less. I mean, we've consolidated some bigger orders on things or
Sure.
bigger
Yeah.
trips on stuff that we can get from wholesalers, but inevitably there's still going to be that grocery store push.
Yeah.
You know, after this, we're going to go downstairs to Gang to Market and
Yeah.
get some stuff that we need for tomorrow. So we're going to try to get a lot better at that, especially now that we're cooking a lot more quantity. But yeah, that's always a part of it, is what we need for the next thing, which takes up a lot of our time.
Besides yourself, you're cooking for other people every single day.
More so for
Yeah, definitely a majority of the days, but yeah, it's 5-6 days a week.
Wow.
We're doing something in kind of that vein, whether it's actual cooking or whether it's getting ready to cook.
Yeah.
It's always, but 6-7 days a week of work in some form.
Do you do corporate lunches almost like every day during the week?
3 days a week we're kind of doing right now,
Okay.
between 2 and starting next month will be 3 clients.
That's
Okay.
awesome.
Thankfully they're all close to each other and all want lunch on the same days, which is
Yeah.
awesome.
So we get
But
in,
3 days a
set the
week we're doing that.
menu. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So that's 3 days a week. Then the privates are usually Thursday, Friday, Saturday, some combination of that, and then typically Wednesday, Sundays are like in the kitchen prepping. Not too much
Yeah.
at night. Maybe a podcast here or there or something.
Something like that.
We got to find that time for the fitness for both of you.
Yeah, that's
we do. I think it's been, as we've been able to like hire some more guys that we can kind of rely on and trust, and I think that's the benefit of having both of us being owners, also that learning ways that we can, lean on each other, one of us take off or one of us be able to, take some time off, go on a vacation or something, knowing that the other owner, the other person is able to kind
Cover,
of carry
be
on
there.
and cover too. I
Yeah,
think that's a
that's nice.
unique thing that we kind of, can offer each other too,
That's nice. You mentioned going for Indian food and finding that spice and being like, so Chicago, I have 2 questions and it's going to be in one.
yeah.
Chicago definitely influences how you plan your menus and how. And then 2, where do you feel like you source that inspiration from in Chicago? Or maybe in the world.
Well, go back to the first question. How does Chicago shape
Yeah.
what we cook?
Or does it not?
No, it definitely does. I mean, it goes back to the communities, but it's the restaurants in your neighborhood that you go to all the time that you can draw inspiration from. I mean, within 2-mile radius of our house, I mean, you get food from not everywhere in the world, but I mean, it's the access to it's awesome. So it's kind of just pulling from that. It could be eating a taco for lunch somewhere as easy as that. And it's like, oh, it just hits home, and then you use that, and we not try to emulate it, but it's just inspiring gives us more ideas on what to do. So, I mean, it's Chicago shapes it like that. It really from the food you eat every day, not even talking about the communities behind food that we've already touched on, but and then it's the access to ingredients. So it's also within a 2-mile radius from our house, we can get almost, anything we want, and especially now that you can order whatever you want online.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have a certain like genre of food that you would say Nude Dude Food is?
Yeah, like Italian or
American
or
pizza is Italian-ish. It's also become American.
you guys do it all.
Everything.
Fusion?
No, it's kind of. I don't know. I hate pigeonholing into genres. It was the same thing with music. It's like, what's
You
your
can say
genre?
that too. Feel free.
But it'd kind of be like
I'm very good.
new American farm to table with international ingredients.
Done.
Does that even make
Wow.
sense? It's definitely kind of, the farm to table's big for us, or getting good quality things in season, but then it could be something weird like putting fish sauce in a bolognese, so then you're into Italian and Southeast Asia. So yeah, the beauty of it for us is we can do that, within reason. But yeah, farm to table seasonal food with international ingredients or international flair.
Love it.
Mic
do you
drop.
guys do a lot of traveling for events? Like, how often would you say you travel for a?
Locally, yes. We used to travel more out of state in the beginning of the business. Now it's much more centralized kind of in the lake corridor. So it's Chicago and suburbs, Wisconsin, upwards of Milwaukee, Madison, into northwest Indiana, around Michigan, and that whole lakeside in Michigan is the Hamptons of the Midwest.
Yeah. Especially in the
and there's a
summer where
lot of
everybody
business there, and
goes,
we're
yeah.
happy to go there. But usually within an hour and a half to 2 hours driving is kind of our max before we'd really ask for an overnight ask for a flight. But the lake corridor kind of is our main source of business now. But in the summer, we could be over in Michigan twice in a weekend.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, do you have a busy season, kind of, or it's kind of always?
Summer is definitely kind of the busiest, but it's fairly consistent year-round. But summer and holidays are kind of the busiest I'd say for us.
Okay.
But yeah, almost most weeks we would have at least one event either in the suburbs or something, not necessarily far travel, but happens quite often.
Okay. What's your favorite thing that you guys make?
I was gonna get
Did I
into
steal
this
it?
question.
Sorry.
That was my question for him.
We do that a lot.
Same.
I really love making. Bread is probably going to be one of his answers too, but more so the pizza. Like specifically more the pizza for me. Really just it's even before just the dough, the time we take to like make the dough, and part of that is the sourdough process, but then topping it and having fun ingredients, and so really looking forward to kind of this new venture, being able to get it to a lot of people, because we do feel strongly about it, and I really, when it comes out the oven, I'm like, oh shit, this looks good.
Yeah.
And I make it a lot, and I'm like, oh damn, it still looks good. So
Yeah.
I'm like, so that even just getting excited like that is something that still gets me excited, like the bread. Now also then the pizza, and then being able to. Like the dinners, everyone likes positive feedback, but when you're able to feed someone and, right in front of you, they try it or have a positive or a negative reaction, but, usually positive reaction.
Yeah.
You get that immediate feedback too. And so pizza's kind of been it for me lately. So.
Do you guys just have a giant sourdough starter laying around? Like that's it. Sourdough is what the girlies are doing now, so I know a little bit about it.
It's
but how does it
not
work
a
on a large
giant
scale?
vat. It's the sourdough that basically gets continuously refed is not a lot. That quantity will go up once we scale up the pizza, but at home, any given day, it's about half cup to a cup of starter that you start with, and then if we're making a big batch of something, we would basically ferment it the night before, a larger batch of that starter. But the master starter the amount that we have is not actually that much.
not.
Half a cup to a cup. It exists in a dehydrated form. As an oh shit kind of, if we really mess up and we lose it, we could probably revive the dried one. There's also a couple ones at the kitchen just kind of there that are, you know, a little out of practice, so to speak, but could be revived if need be. But yeah, really the master one is not that much quantity. It's more about the pre-ferment you make the night before. That's when you get your bigger quantity of starter to use. And in those cases, I'm trying to think of, for like a load of 50 loaves of bread, you know, what the volume of that starter looked like. It's been a while. I'm trying to remember. It was
a lot.
You know, it could have been a gallon, close to a gallon, 4 quarts of starter with it. But, you know, it's not huge quantities of it. But yeah, the master one is not that much.
Okay.
What's the most
quality over the quantity? You know?
Yeah,
exactly.
That's what they say. Yeah.
What's the most challenging thing you've ever had to like cook or make?
I tried making French macarons once, and that was just.
I've heard it's quite a.
That was finicky.
I'm just kidding.
Pop sorghum. I hated trying to do that.
What?
Pop sorghum. It's just like a smaller. It's like a small kernel. Like it looks like a popcorn, but it's just small. I don't know what it.
Yeah, those are kind of a little B because it's basically it's just making popcorn, but yeah, for some reason it's hard to get them all to pop consistently without.
I saw some on Instagram like, oh, instead of popcorn, you can make pop sorghum. Like, no one would ever do. No one would do that.
Interested.
No one wants that.
I won't dive into it too much.
Yeah.
But does it ever? Is there anything on the internet that gets you to be like, ugh, like, oh, that's so annoying? Like for us with like
most of what I see on the internet.
No, because like for us with fitness or like wellness, we're like we hate the trend of like what I eat in a day.
Yeah.
Are there any trends within like the culinary world that you're like, ugh?
I'm trying to think of specific examples. You might. I mean, you're on social media more.
Funny that this would be my answer, being that we again kind of made a name being like shirtless chefs, but I feel like so much of the content is like just so sexualized and like for no reason.
Like let me cook in my
slapping the meat, or that way, either being like overtly sexual in your behavior or your voice, or just like how you treat the ingredient. And, And I mean, I got sex sells. Like we started a business kind of around that idea too. But I think we've just been very, very tasteful about how we go about it. And a lot of the content I see that it's not really tasteful. There's great content and food content out there, but I just feel like a lot of it. Specifically the food is just like really over. So you go. I already answered my part. Food trends? What do you like?
Yeah,
I don't like.
What annoys me recently is just the restaurant reviews, or like it's just so many people trying to do it. It's like, why the fuck am I going to listen to you? There's some that are great, right? And I like watching some of that for informative knowledge on where I should go eat, but like not everybody and their mother has to do it. Or like,
you know what? I just saw this on TikTok where it was like, these people think that when they leave, they need to hop on TikTok right away and tell you exactly what they think. Like it's become okay that now they can just come and like rip you apart and not even realize that like the person behind the restaurant, like they're a human, like they're a person.
Yeah, and the emphasis that people have on reviews, or it's like one bad review, it's just so annoying, and like that really gets me. I think the other, like the recipe videos, it's like, how many times can I see fucking salt go into a bowl and you stir it around from the angle above? It's like, okay, there's some that are well done, but it's like there's so much out there. It's like
it's a bit overdone.
Like, God,
it's exhausting.
Give me something else.
That's like the last thing we want to do is, and I think that's where we kind of are trying to navigate now as a business to stay kind of relevant on social media, knowing that there's all these annoying things, there's all these things and all these gimmicks, and it just it's like that's not us. We don't want to be just like up there doing trendy sounds, or we don't dance, thankfully. But
We
it's
do.
things like that.
Now, one trend I
always could.
can get behind. Come get ready with me.
Oh,
That's my
let's see
favorite.
one
I'm
from
just
you,
kidding.
Seth. I'm gonna do it now.
Yeah,
For-
I don't like that one either. I'm
For
just.
get ready with
Come
you.
get ready with me.
We're gonna
What is-
do it.
What's the acronym?
GRWM.
Get ready.
Okay, I had to think about that.
I'm gonna wait for that on the on your talk.
Nude Dude Food.
Yeah. We probably have done something similar.
If
But
you
those
make
Prep
it
with
like
us,
a day in the life
or
or
like
something.
prep with us or something like
Come
that.
prep
We
with us.
could. We might.
That's actually
We
not a
might
bad
now.
one.
Yeah.
Run, don't walk. That's my biggest pet peeve right now. That one.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay.
Yeah.
I
No.
love social media.
No, I don't.
We all
Yeah.
do.
If you could invite anyone at all, dead or alive, to cook for to a Nude Dude Food dinner, who would it be?
To cook for.
Yeah.
Don't worry, we got the other question too, to have dinner with, but this is to cook for.
Man. Who I want to cook for?
We sent you these before. Just kidding.
So you guys could like think about it.
We're kidding.
I
We
would
are
go.
assholes.
And it's not even like that. I just want to mention it. I was able to cook for like my whole family this last year. For the first time that they've all been together, and I've been in a professional setting. I became an uncle like last summer, so it was the first time like meeting my nephew and having my sister and brother and dad. They all flew in kind of from all over, not specifically to eat, but I made a point to like we had like an underground supper club we were
Fun.
kind of working at, and so we had them all dine out, and so that was like for me like maybe not the most famous person, but just having
yeah.
like
Doesn't have to be.
having all like
Yeah.
my family around the table for the first time since we've all been like kids or whatever was like something that was like super special to me.
I love that.
Yeah. I want to cook for Justin Timberlake.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
good.
See, there you
Yeah.
I don't even know why. I just like him
Me too. I like
as an
him too.
artist. As an artist.
know why.
It'd be fun. I think he'd be fun to spitball with.
Yeah.
He's
I don't
funny
know.
too. I'm with you.
Yeah.
Can I come to that dinner? You can
Sure.
cook for me too.
Wait, what
course.
about Adam Levine? What if
Yeah, I mean,
you pick him
know,
over Adam Levine? Justin Timberlake.
Justin
over Adam
Timberlake
Levine?
would be more fun to cook for.
Okay.
No, Adam
You would
seems really
eat with
fun.
Adam Levine. You'd cook for Justin Timberlake. Maybe.
Yeah, I could say that.
All right.
Like,
Best of
Yeah.
both worlds.
I mean, I don't
Yeah.
want if they see this. I don't want them to start like.
We're gonna
feeding
tag
over
them in
you.
that. So
You-
just so you know.
But I mean,
If they call
Justin,
you.
Adam, feel free to give me a call if you want to take me up on this offer.
but then John Mayer walks in and hears. I mean,
Honestly, John Mayer might even be one of the best. Dang it, I take it back. John Mayer, final answer.
'Kay.
No, that would be good.
yeah.
What's
I'm
something?
coming to that one. though.
What's something you'll never ever cook again?
Ooh.
You did it
Macarons.
once, and you
Yeah,
were like,
macarons done. I probably won't ever make a laminated like pastry dough, so like a croissant dough. It'd be fun to try, but I don't know if I will. But what when I cook again? What do we try that's like?
you were like, absolutely not.
Most things turn out pretty well. I strangely don't like chocolate or cilantro.
I hate cilantro.
Cilantro tastes like soap.
Yeah.
Same
But I
payroll.
love
But
chocolate.
chocolate, so like, thankfully some of our staff love doing desserts, so I don't have to deal with it. But like I just don't like the smell of chocolate. Same with like, for me, it's
Really?
equally to like cilantro kind of thing. I just don't like tasting it.
Man, I feel bad
It's
for
a
you.
whole sensory experience
yeah,
for you.
no one
What's your
would-
dessert of choice?
Like
Vanilla
gummy
ice cream?
sweets.
Oh.
You know, I love like Sour Patch Kids,
Ice
like
cream.
candies,
Same.
Okay.
Sessa Big ice cream.
Me too.
Breakfast burritos, I'm done making. I think I'm done.
Yeah.
My ship
Really?
has sailed. It took me about 4 hours to make 30 or 40 of them once.
That's a lot of rolling.
You
I used
know,
to really focus
I
on
don't
those,
know.
like,
It just
roll
didn't
it right.
seem to go my way. And,
Yeah.
Okay, no breakfast burritos
Damn
for you.
breakfast burritos. I
If
fucking hate you.
is
They're
there and there
delicious.
may not be someone in the culinary industry that you'd be like, wow, I'd really like to be them for a day, just to see.
God, there's a lot.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Who? Gran Ackett's like recently. What's that?
She was looking
yes,
for
she
like Bobby
does.
Flay. Like she knew. No, I'm just kidding.
Grant's the chef at Alinea.
Oh, okay.
I really like what he's done on his social media recently. Like he's showing a lot of their older pictures. Like
Cool.
I like what he's done with his presentation, and it'd be really interesting to see. Yeah, what more of what
Him
he's all
behind the
about.
scenes.
That kind of be mine off the top of my head. I don't know. There's a lot though.
Yeah.
Ryan, you got one?
That would be, like a Michelin star chef would be cool just to see just behind the scenes of like, just like a really badass kitchen.
Yeah.
How it's run. But, I don't know. Not anyone like specific. I guess celebrity chefs.
Sure.
I feel like a lot of their lives probably are a little different now with like TV. We've done some stuff back in the day with like Chef Brooke Williamson, before she won like Top Chef, and now just like I can't imagine like you're a rock star. You're
you're like famous now,
so
like a celebrity.
I can't even imagine how to navigate kind of that and run successful restaurants and be like a Food Network star. I wouldn't want to do that.
What's your favorite guilty pleasure?
Ice cream.
Me too. What kind of ice cream?
Any of it.
I'm so boring.
I'm probably going to go to Gingham and get some after
I'm
this.
vanilla with rainbow sprinkles. Like, I'm a basic bitch.
Oh, I mean, a good vanilla is great, right? Like, you get great vanilla, but like chocolate peanut butter Haagen-Dazs, don't even fuck with me on that. It's so good. Ben and Jerry's Half Baked is one of my all-time favorites.
So good.
One of the best.
I don't really eat an ice cream I don't like.
Me too.
And sometimes I will eat it like 7 days in a row. I'm not kidding.
Same. No, like 365 days a year.
Yeah, even when it's cold. I'm going to get some at Gangnam tonight. Oh,
as you should.
The mango,
So good. Those are so good.
One of the happiest, like, I don't know why it makes me so fucking happy to eat those things.
It does.
Food has a feeling and emotion.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know. You've never brought it for me. It's okay.
Well, we should go downstairs and go downstairs and get one on the way out.
The peach is good too. The white peach.
The peach is good, but the mango.
The mango
is good.
It's delicious.
Anyway, I'm rambling.
No,
we love rambling.
Yeah, we're here to ramble. Guilty pleasure?
Yeah, probably just anything sour, gummy. Anytime he, makes a trip, or it's like, hey, his ice cream. Mine's usually like a sour something, or I know not like a crazy culinary creation, but just I don't know.
No,
just
keep it.
Get into
the basic guilty pleasure. I agree. Agreed. What's coming up for you guys?
Yeah,
a lot of cooking. So next month we'll be up. I think 3 corporate clients during the week. So if anyone has an office space that needs a great lunch, hit us up.
Okay. I know a lot of people with office spaces, so I will.
Yeah.
We're looking to expand on that heavily in the next year. Private events still getting on the books. Some are booking out as far as next year. That's always going to be a big part of what we're doing. And the big focus is getting this pizza thing ready, which can't say a ton about. That's really going to be
You got a time frame you can tell us?
The big focus. We're looking at June.
Okay. Soon.
And that is...
But launch, or at least announcement, probably like hopefully by March, hopefully in the next couple of weeks, at least be able to announce it and do some PR pushes from their end and our end. Create some buzz, do some pop-ups in the space, kind of get acclimated. But that's the big one.
Kind of the big 3 for us. Yeah.
And if someone wants to book with you, whether it's corporate, event, bachelorette, whatever it is, how do they get in touch with you?
Booking at nudedudefood.com. Text me at 710.
I was like, wow.
Instagram, all the social. I mean, we're big on like Instagram. We have a TikTok.
What's the handles?
Everything's at Nude Dude Food.
Okay.
Mainly Instagram, but if you like search Nude Dude Food, we kind of pop up first, kind of all the time.
Is that a pun?
What's up?
Never mind. Inappropriate.
I got it. A little late, but I got it.
Sorry.
Yeah, we're not hard to find, I guess. But Nude Dude Food, and do all kinds of events, whether we're shirtless or not. We did a fun art kind of experience down in Bridgeport last night.
Cool.
There's a guided meditation first, and then there's a guided kind of art session, and then we provided food. And so, again, just all those fun community things, anything in between, whether it's your corporate lunch or grandma's 70th birthday.
80th birthday.
Yeah.
Who thought we were strippers, by the way. She was disappointed.
I thought you guys were going to be naked.
Grandma.
You should have done it for Grandma.
Yeah, you should have shown her a little bit
That was
of
an interesting
little
party.
butt.
The oven didn't work. It was a brand new communal space, and we had to warm up the food 40 floors below. That was one of the ones I should have talked about earlier.
Good
Anyway,
times.
We got
Good
it.
times.
Yeah,
Well, I
yeah.
can attest. I've had your food prior to this. It's amazing. The
Pizza's
pizza
great.
is unreal.
I know I want to be done so I can eat this.
I know. But you two are awesome, and you're doing amazing things.
Yes,
and
thank you
so much.
as like a friend, but also
much.
like a consumer, I'm very proud of you both, and I can't wait to see what you guys do the rest of this year, next year, 10 years. Gonna crush it.
Thank
Yeah.
you very much.
Thank you
It's
both.
Oh yeah. No,
been a
thanks,
pleasure chatting.
You're the best. And as always, we always leave everyone and remind them that everything's
everyone.
fine.
Even though it's really not.